Okay. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. I'll keep it very short from my side. My name is Salil. I'm a data platform MVP. I'm the organizer of Power BI and Fabric Turkey user group. Today's session is too hot for me. Thanks a lot for joining me, Pragati. I'm hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Halil. That was pretty quick. I was doing something.
I told you.
But yeah, I mean, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me to your user group. I mean, it's been some time I've been speaking, but yeah, as I said in the starting, my love for user groups is very different to conferences. So thank you so much. I think let's get cracking. I'll just share my screen. Let's not wait much. So, okay. We get the PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, I think you guys can see my screen.
Perfectly.
Perfect. Okay. And yeah, Halil, somehow I just couldn't see the chat window right now. But
Okay.
if there's something in the chat, definitely, interrupt me if there are questions. We can go along and, discuss and, try to answer those questions. Okay, first of all, welcome everyone for my session on now this time. And this is the first time I'm delivering a session on write back capability in Fabric that came out some time back. And I don't know about everyone in the meeting today, but I was quite excited about this particular feature because working in consultancy for last few years, I mean, this was something, clients have been asking for like ages. Like why we can't have everything at a single place, because I'm not sure how many Power BI people are in the team, though I know a few of them already working with Power BI in the meeting today. I know like it was challenge creating those kind of forms and, getting comments somehow updated in a different database and then, retrieving it and analyzing it and then generating actions and insights from them. So earlier, it was not easy to do everything in a single environment. Like Power BI was not capable to do write back within the same area. There has to be something like a new Power App form created, which used to get connected to a third database, and then everything goes there. But now Fabric has brought everything together. Now, Microsoft Fabric, all of you must have been aware of it, and I think that's why you're in this session today. Fabric actually supports a lot of collaboration, everything in a single place, in a single one lake. And it gives us that capability to bring everything together. So this is what this capability is there. If you want to have some live data control on your data, you want to say, submit some comments, write your data, or see live updates on your data, then this is the capability that Fabric has bought. And it is not somewhere you have to do in a second tool or third tool. You can do everything in a single environment. So that's what we are going to see today. So before we start, a very quick introduction, because I know a few people in the group today don't know me. So my name is Pragati Jain. I'm a new ma to a little boy. My little boy turned 1 year, 2 days back. On Sunday, he had his first birthday. So yeah, time passed so quickly, and I'm so proud to be his mom because I've seen him grow and how he's today. Then I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. I'm also a super user at Microsoft Fabric community. If you guys don't know this Fabric community, definitely go and join, because I have been member on this community for last 6 years or so. And trust me, I have learned most of my Power BI from this community. 80 to 85% of Power BI learning has been through this community, because on this community, you have got amazing people, knowledgeable people there, not just MVPs, just the platform users and, the community members. They just come and, help you with all the issues that you get into Power BI. But now it is Fabric, so you can ask questions related to the wider Fabric environment. And then there are so many users there to help you up. And then I've got more than a decade of experience within the industry in the analytics space. And currently I'm working as an analytics manager at Avanade here in London. I'm also an organizer of Data Weekender Conference. It's a free virtual data platform conference that happens once every year. And it's completely virtual, so you can join from any part of the world. You really don't have to be present to attend the conference. And I also manage Microsoft Fabric UK user group. Again, our user group is virtual and I manage this alongside Leon. And on monthly basis, we generally have speakers coming over, sharing their knowledge. So if any of you want to speak at my user group or are interested in Data Weekend or conference, then just reach out to me. One fun fact about me is like, I like to paint. So I just call myself a techie artist. Okay, this was a quick introduction about me, and let's just go through today's agenda. Now, first thing I would say, guys, I'm not a very much PowerPoint-oriented person, but still, let's see how we can do things, because mostly I would love to show you the demos that I've created. And yeah, I'll be showing you pre-created demos. I'm not going to do everything from scratch. But yeah, we'll see if there's something I have to do on the fly, I'll do it and show it to you. Okay, so in today's agenda, we are going to start with the kind of challenges that in today's world we have when we, have insights where there are no actions. And then we'll jump into how we can, do this in Fabric. So I'm going to give a very quick introduction around what this write back capability in Fabric is around. Then we will see how this capability works in Fabric. So we are going to see what translytical flows are and how they help you implement this write back capability in Microsoft Fabric environment. Then also we are going to look at a business scenario where I'll be talking more around adding comments against products within my database and see from a Power BI report how I can add those comments and it feeds directly to my Microsoft Fabric environment in a database. And then a demo walkthrough where I have already pre-created demos, but we'll look at them, how we create them. And then in the end, I will also discuss around some of the benefits for business and IT teams when it comes to taking actions around the insights that you have created on your Power BI report. And then in the end, we will also look at some of the best practices and consideration while, considering this approach, because this is still under preview. So we should be wary about few things. And also in the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers. So let's just jump to the next slide and start with the challenge that we generally talk about. Now, I know if you're coming from a Power BI world, and these are the kind of, questions you must have been asked by so many customers and clients, like, okay, I've got this Power BI report, I can see my product sales, and I can see some kind of discount that's been given on this particular product sale. But say, if I want to vary this discount and see how my sales will, say, change. So those kind of actions are currently not possible to do in Power BI directly. I mean, there is a way to do it, I would say, using Power Apps, but if you want to build everything in a single environment, that's currently not possible. So basically having insights and then taking certain action in today's world takes a lot of time, because you as a user see a report and say you want to communicate some kind of action to the report developer or your management team, then it takes some time to go through to take that action, because you might have to go to a different way to do that. Either you email your team, okay, what's really happening on the report? I really want to understand how the sales will, change if I change the discount. Or say you'll have to go and have a meeting with them. Okay, what's really happening on the dashboard? So basically you are not having a real-time action taken on your report based on the insights you see. So this is the kind of challenge currently we face. And today, most of the dashboards, if you see, they actually just show what happened. If a user has to basically act on it, they might have to jump to a different way or a different system, like say through emails or, through CRM system to get that done. And in the end, this actually slows down a lot of data decisions, because in the circle of, communicating those actions to a team, it actually takes a lot of time, and it kind of creates a gap between the insight and action. So this is the kind of challenge we face, but see how we can actually avoid or, take out this challenge from our day-to-day work in Power BI. So let's see how it works. So I'm not going to read these bullet points because I've already said them in a different way, but let's just go on to the next slide. So now the challenge that we talked about in the previous slide that can actually be overcome by write back capability that came in Fabric some times back. So when we talk about write back capability, it completely changes the game. The reason is because instead of observing your data, you can actually now directly act inside your Power BI report and take certain action. And this in a way closes the loop and the data becomes more insightful for you and also actionable, feeding further insight. So if you see this simple diagram that I've got, I just created it on the fly. Say you are seeing your Power BI report, and then you want to take an action and then generate some more insights on top of it, then it's very easy to do that when Power BI combines with Fabric. And it also influences your business operations. So basically, your Power BI now becomes a platform where you can take actions. You can generate insights over your existing insights, and your data actually becomes actionable, not just observable. Because when you have a report in front of you, so far in Power BI, you can just see the insights. You can't take any actions. But this write back capability in Fabric introduces that actionable based insights in your report. And this is how we will see how it works in the using translytical flows in Fabric. So let's go to the next slide and let's see. So how it works. So what are translytical flows? If you want a single definition, single line definition of translytical flows, it's actually a unified transactional and analytical flows, because it brings together your analytics and transactions together in a single way. And it is completely integrated with Microsoft Fabric. And you can see real-time synchronization between your analytics and operations. So when we talk about analytics and operations, again, it is when insights meet actions to generate insights on top of it. That's what real-time sync is between analytics and operations. And we'll see that how it works as well. And in this way, you really don't have to switch to like some kind of different systems to do that, because everything is within a single hood. Everything is within Microsoft Fabric environment, where you can actually take your actions and generate your insights. Now, consider a business scenario where I've got like a very simple Power BI report here, nothing fancy in there. So if you can see, this is a single page Power BI report where I've got like product details at the top, and say I'm just looking at my product descriptions and say I'm seeing sales against it. Actually, let me switch back to my Power BI report. That will give additional things. Sorry, guys, I'll be switching between my Power BI report and the deck as well. So just imagine, I hope everyone can see the Power BI report. If not, Halil, just give me a shout. So in this Power BI report, I mean, this is a single page where I can see some product summary. And just to give you a little bit of background about the data, this is the famous Contoso sales data that is freely available. Anyone can get it and, use it for, your learning purposes. And that's what I've been doing for some time. So what this data is about, it has got product and their sales around it. And what I've got on this single page is I've got certain details. I've got my products and I can see some overall sales, some returns against them, against those products. And I can also see store sales and online sales. And at the bottom, I've got some kind of promotional details against those sales. Now, if I see the total or overall sales against my products, I've just, sorted them based on that. I can see some of my products have got like more store sales and less online sales. And if I go further down, let's find some product, like, for example, this particular product. AdventureWorks Desktop. This product has got overall sales of 51,000, nearly 52,000 pounds, out of which 32,000 is just store sales and online sales is just 9,000 pounds. Now, as a user, say if I want to understand why my online sales have been less on this particular product. Is there some kind of promotion that's been, not working, or say, are there any promotions only for store sales, but not for online sales? Then I can try to, like, for example, let's take the another product, which is just below it. Now, if you see this particular product, I can see store sales are much higher than my online sales. And as I've selected this product, against this product, I can see there are some promotions displayed at the bottom table. And I can clearly see there is only promotion against store for this particular product. And I don't see any promotion against online product. Maybe that could be a reason why my online sales are down. But as a user of this report, like say, I want to somehow communicate to my, team, shall we increase some kind of online promotion or introduce some kind of online promotion for this product so I can increase my sales? But currently I don't have a way of doing that through this report. I'll have to either write an email to my team or have a meeting with them to show them, okay, our online sales for this particular product are quite low. We should be introducing some online promotions so that we can see some kind of jump in the sales. So these things these days take a lot of time. But now with the write back capability, we will be doing that in this very same screen, like how as a user, I can communicate that please add promotion to this certain product so that we can have some jump in online sales in the same screen. But this was just something I wanted to show you, like what's the kind of business scenario we are going to talk about today and how we are going to write this information as a communication within the same screen and write it back to a system so our team can see that and then take an appropriate action so that the sales for this particular product can increase. So let's go back to my PowerPoint deck. So this is the kind of scenario I wanted to show you, but yeah, I think I've got the screenshot wrong here. I should have got the other one. This is the screenshot where we are going to actually write the comments and write it back to the system. Like, okay, I want to do something with this product, so I can take some actions against it. So this is what the business scenario we'll be talking about. Yeah. Let's go to the next screen. So today, now I'm going to directly go into demo. As I said earlier, I'm not much into the PowerPoint person, but I'll be showing more demos. So in today's demo, we are going to do a few things. We are going to go to a Power BI report. We are going to review a product description that we just saw on the Power BI screen. We'll go and try to add the comments as the communication that we just talked about, like how I want to say something or mention something to my team so they can take respective action against the sales of a product. And we'll also see how we can write this back to Fabric environment in a database. And we will also see some real-time updates on the Power BI report based on the comments that we just enter against Insight for a product on the report. And just to give you a very vague idea, very quick idea around what are the demo steps that we are going to follow today is, I've already created the demo, but still I want to lay out how the demo was created. Now, when we talk about capturing data, obviously we have to think of where we are going to capture the data. Now in Fabric environment, we can capture the data in lake houses, we can capture them in a warehouse, in a SQL database, we can do that in an event hub, but every different type of, storage area has got a different, use. But when it comes to working with translytical flows, this is something clearly mentioned in the Microsoft blog around translytical flows, that translytical flows works perfect, or it works best. I would not say perfect is the wrong word, but it works best when you use a SQL database as an underlying storage area for capturing the data. So that's why for the demo, I ended up using a SQL database to capture the comments that we just talked about. We can use Lakehouse and Warehouse as well. Honestly, I haven't tested that because I just went by the Microsoft official blog where they say that SQL database is the best case to work with when working with translytical flows. So I went with it. But Lakehouse and Warehouse is also, they say we can use it, but I haven't tested it, which is something I'm going to do in next few days. And then we are also going to create a comments table. And I will talk you through why we want a comments table there. Because if I show you my existing semantic model that feeds my report, it hasn't got a table where I can store these additional comments. So I ended up creating a new comments table in my SQL database where I can somehow link my Power BI report to send the data to my Fabric SQL database comments table where it gets stored. And we'll see how that happens. And that actually happens by creating a UDF, which is a user-defined function, which actually helps us to pass the data to the database from a Power BI report. And we'll see what that UDF is about. And there are so many examples already pre-created by Microsoft team for us to use. So I won't take any credit on writing that UDF from scratch. I took it from the GitHub repo of the Microsoft team, and I just modified it with few things. And then once everything is ready from the storage point of view in the Microsoft Fabric environment, we will go to a Power BI report where we are going to create that kind of user interaction where user can analyze the insight, write some comments or information, which then gets captured in the database. And how that is done, I will show you. And then in the end, we will also see the real-time comments update that the user can see what he or she wrote while interacting with the insights on the report itself. So let's actually go to the environment and see what we really want to do now. I will switch back to my environment, and yeah, let me know, guys, if there's any kind of questions popping up. I'll be more than I'm happy to take any, just make it interactive, because it's something we all are learning together, not something I'm just talking about. So I would love to see what people, have you tried translytical flows before? Are you going to do that? Or you're really looking to learn about it? Let me also capture, just get one. Yeah. Okay, so let's come to Fabric first. Now, as I talked about before, writing any comments, we have to think about a storage layer or a storage area where our comments will be stored. Now, one thing before doing that is, if you have so I have a Fabric trial license, and under admin portal, you really need to make sure you have enabled creating Fabric items, and also make sure you have enabled uses of SQL database. As I mentioned earlier, as with the best practice thing, I am going to store all my data into a SQL database, because as Microsoft suggests, translytical flows work best with them. So I went with that approach. And also to do that, you need to use user data functions, and you need to enable that as well in your Fabric environment. So make sure you have enabled these two settings in your admin portal before working with these, because if you haven't enabled them, you won't be able to work with user data functions and SQL database. So these are the two tenant settings you need to make sure that's been enabled in your environment before working with translytical flows. So now let's go back to go to a workspace. So I've already created a workspace, which is my Fabric Contoso workspace. And okay, let it load. Okay. So now this is the workspace where I already did some work. So there are a few more things already going on, but let's not go into that. Let's directly go to the semantic model that's been created in this workspace, because I want to give you an idea around what kind of semantic model and data we are going to work with. So let me just open this model. And this is so yeah, semantic model I created. I think the default semantic models have gone, if I'm correct. Let's quickly see. I think they have gone. Oh no, they're still there. Yeah, they'll be going soon if I'm correct. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So this is the kind of semantic model I ended up creating. It's a very simple semantic model, nothing much in it. And as I was talking about, I've got some sales information around products. And against that, I've got some different dimensions going on there. Like I've got different kind of channels, like whether the sales came from online sales or through stores. Then I've got the store information. If it is a store-based sales, from which store and which area that sale was done. I've got a date table going on there where I can use it in my model if I need to. I've got a promotion table, which kind of tells me what kind of promotions have been going on the different products. And then I've got some more product details in there, like category and subcategory. So it's a very simple semantic model, but I just wanted to give you an idea. This is the kind of semantic model I have got. And on top of this, what I'm trying to do is I want to capture some comments against my product based on the sales that a user sees on the Power BI report and what kind of actions they want to take. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, I am using a SQL database to create a comments table. So what I ended up doing was, if I go back to my workspace, demos are always slow when I'm presenting, but it's okay. So what I did was, in my workspace, I just went to new item, and yeah, it is slow. And what I did was I just went ahead and created a SQL database. And I'm not creating it because I've already done that. So you can just go ahead and create a SQL database because that's the storage area we are going to use to store our comments. So once I created my SQL database, what I did was I just created a simple comments table there. Let me just load it. Okay, if I go to my database, I've got a table there and I just named it as product revenue comments. You can name it as per your scenario. And yeah, you can see there are already some entries, but mainly I literally created a simple query of create table creation in a SQL database. And that query is very simple to write. And I just wanted three columns in it. I just didn't want to overwhelm the table. So what this table has got, it has got a comment key. It has got a product key because I want to enter comments against product. So I want to make sure I map the right products to the comments. And in the semantic model, we already saw there was a product table, which has a product key in there. So I wanted to give the same product key in the comments table so I can map the comments correctly. And also a comment column, which will capture the comments against those products. And it's a very simple table. I just made my key columns as numeric and my comment column as string. So very simple 3-column comments table. And once this table was created, so this is the kind of, table I've created. And there's a primary key, which I've just mentioned as comment key. You can play around with keys based on your scenario, but this is the simple table I created in SQL database. And here where my comments will get captured. But before writing the comments in Power BI, you have to somehow create I would say it's a kind of link or a bridge that will help you pass your Power BI information to this database table here. And for that, when we talk about translytical flows, we actually go and create a user data function. And what this user data function helps is it helps us pass that information from a Power BI report to this particular table in the database. Now, before going into that, let me just pop up another window. Okay. So Sujata, the PM at Microsoft, what she did is she has done a brilliant job for us to get started. Now, I come from a Power BI world. I really don't know how to write a user data function, and neither my coding skills are great like data engineers. So for developers like us, these kind of things really help. And Microsoft has really helped it work out for us so that, anyone can get started with these user data functions. You really don't have to write everything from scratch. So take the help of this and then, just modify it based on your scenario. Now, so these are the kind of examples they've given. And what I did, I wanted to add information to my table. So what I did was I wanted to do basically a simple add annotation. So I picked up this user data function that is given here. And this is a simple, I think it's a Python code, if I understand it correctly. And this user function just helps us get a Power BI comments into the comment table. And what this user function is doing, it's actually helping us create a SQL connection. And that SQL connection within this UDF function helps us connect our Power BI comments here. And I really don't want to go into the detail of this, what this is doing, but in a gist of it, it helps you capture or take your comments as an argument here. And this UDF is defined in Power BI. Basically, you link this UDF, you call this UDF or invoke this UDF within the Power BI report. And once it's invoked, it kind of starts capturing the information. But this UDF is a little different because it was created for a different scenario. But let me show you the UDF that I created for this particular scenario. And obviously, it was all the help from this particular GitHub repository. I didn't create anything from scratch, took everything from what was given and modified it. So let me show you the UDF that was created for this particular scenario. So this is a user data function that I created for capturing the comments. Now, just quickly going back. in the SQL database, we created a product revenue comments with 3 columns. One is comment key, one is product key, and one is comment. So somehow we want to enter that comment as a row in this table. So our input should go for these 3 particular columns. Just mentioning that because in the UDF, we have to define this somehow, that all these 3 columns are populated by a value. Now, if I go to this particular UDF, cool. So one thing, when you want to create a UDF, there are some samples given, okay? So what I did was, as I said, I'm not good with the coding stuff. So I wanted something to get started with. So whenever you create a new UDF, you can actually use a sample. Now here I'm using a SQL database, and within SQL database, they have provided you 3 samples. Okay, is the screen big enough for everyone to see? Or you want me to increase the size of the screen? Please let me know.
It looks good to me.
Okay, if there's something, and people want me to basically increase the size of the screen, let me know, guys. Okay, so within the SQL database, there were already 3 pre-created user data function. One is write multiple rows of data into a table, write 1 row of data into a table, read data from a table. Now, today we are looking into the scenario where I want to write my comments as a single row of data into a table in SQL database. So what I did, I actually clicked on this and it kind of populated this ready UDF function for me. I literally made some changes to it, but this was the UDF that was created after clicking that particular option. And here I had the whole UDF created for me. And there were some comments there where I need to make few changes. Like, for example, I'm writing 1 row data in a SQL database. There was already, everything imported for me. I didn't have to do anything. It clearly tells me I have to select manage connections and add a connection to a Fabric SQL database. Now, when I'm invoking a UDF and I want that UDF to write it to a certain table in a SQL database, I have to somehow link that UDF to my SQL database, right? Because if I don't do that, how will my UDF know where do it need to transfer the data so that it can get captured, right? So that's why the first thing that we need to do is go to manage connections. I've already done that, but I'll just show you quickly. So under manage connections, what you really need to do is you just need to select the SQL database where you want this UDF to put the information in. Yeah, so here I have already created that connection, but if you're doing it for the first time, you can click on add connection, and add connection asks you to select the SQL database that you want this UDF to connect with. And I've already done that and I've just got 1 SQL DB, so I'm not creating another connection. So once you do that, it pops up in this way. So you can basically now you have connected this UDF to this particular SQL database. And if I show you the added connection details, it just, I think it just took this. So this is a very important step, because if you don't do this, your UDF will get invoked in through Power BI, but it won't do anything because it still doesn't know where to write the data or where to pass this data to, where it needs to get stored. So it's very important that you add this connection in your UDF. It could be your lakehouse, your warehouse, but if it's a SQL DB, you do it this way. And even for the lakehouse and warehouse, you do the same way. Add that connection here, and then only your UDF will get linked to your database. Okay. And the other thing, what I really had to do here was just give the alias of my SQL DB. So all these details are something you can just go to your SQL DB and find it there. And you can see that this is the alias or, name of my SQL DB. So I gave it there. And then similarly, there are a few more things I had to do. Now, I've been using SQL DB and it was already there, so I didn't change it. Then there were a few more things. Replace with the data you want to insert. Now, in my table, I have, if I go back to the table that I created, I've got 3 columns, comment key, product key, comment. But I want to add product key and comment as new rows. And this comment key gets populated on its own. So I'm basically writing these columns. So what I'm doing here is in the UDF comment section, in the UDF, I'm just defining that these are the 2 data values I'll be doing, because these will be the two values passed from Power BI through this UDF into your database. That's why you're just giving these two columns here. You're not giving the comment key here, because comment key is just a key and it won't be passed through Power BI UX. Only these two values against these two columns will be passed from your Power BI UX. So that's what you're doing here. This connection details were already there, so I didn't do it. Again, I already created the comments table, so I just commented this section, but if you haven't created the table before, you can create that table within the UDF itself. And then inserting data, that's the line you need to change, because while inserting the data, I need to insert it into my product revenue comments, and the data needs to be inserted again, my product key and my comment, which are the description column. And then this is the cursor, which is going to take this and, input this. And yeah, nothing fancy there. The connection commits, the cursor closes after every time it writes a row in the table, and the connection closes. And in the end, whenever it writes a row successfully to my database, it will come up with a message called comment against product was added to the product revenue comments table. And we'll see that it will get populated. And once you have written the UDF, you need to publish it. And once it is published successfully, it means your UDF is created properly and it will run properly as well. Okay, I can see some comments. Let's go through a few comments here. What's really going on? I'm also, oh, Julie, great. Yeah, and feels quite complex for a non-coding Power BI user, but very powerful if you can understand the coding side. Yeah, definitely agree, Ian. I mean, as I said, I'm not very good with coding, but still I was able to, get started with the UDF, because these are the pre-created UDF, and, you can start with these sample ones and just modify the few things and it just works for you. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're good with coding, it will be like a piece of cake for you. But for people who don't know coding, you can still work with it, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. So yeah, because it's a very powerful scenario. And Stephanie, why does this translytical flow work better with SQL DB than with a lakehouse? I think in my view, why it works is because it is more for the transactional data. But there could be different reasons as well about it. I haven't found a definitive reason that Microsoft has given why SQL DB work best with translytical flow. But I'm just assuming it's because of the transactional data that we get to work with. SQL database just works good with it when compared to Lakehouse and Warehouse. I think there are comments. Okay, Ian also mentioned, I'm assuming it's the way SQL is more transactional than the Lakehouse data warehouse option. So yeah, SQL will spin up faster, but yeah. No, I think, Ian, I'm on the same page as well. I think I agree with this. That's the reason I can think of, because I haven't found a proper reason from Microsoft why they really say translytical flows work best with SQL DB. But yeah, this is something, yeah, we can, find out more about it. So thanks for the question, Stephanie, there. I mean, this really is something, yeah, important to understand as well. Okay, as there is more chat going on, let's go further down. Okay, so once we have got a UDF in place, we have created a connection of our SQL DB is more operational data for this type, whereas Lakehouse will be for big data. Yeah, it might change. Exactly. Yeah. So now we have got the UDF. Okay, I'll go back to the chat later. Otherwise, I'll get distracted. So let me just move this. Okay, my machine is very slow today. Okay, so now we have got the UDF. We have made all the changes, like what data we'll be passing and what we really want, where we want that data to be written by, creating a connection of this UDF with the SQL database. Now, once this UDF is written, we know our SQL database is ready where the data is written. And we have also got like a link, okay, between the UDF and our SQL database. So we are fine with it. The connection was successful. So we know once we pass data, it will get written there. But now what? How we pass that data? That's the next question. So we created the SQL database to capture comments, just reading my notes. We created the comments table where we are going to store the data, and we created the UDF that will be invoked from Power BI. Okay, so we finished the part, basically we finished the storage area part where we have planned, okay, this is where we are going to store the data, and we'll use this UDF function to store the data. Now the next part comes is, okay, how I achieve this in Power BI. What I do in Power BI so that this particular UDF function gets invoked, and how I enter that data in Power BI as a window, like my product and my comments, and then pass it back to this particular SQL database where it gets captured into this comments table. Okay, so now let's go back to the Power BI area. Let me know if there were any questions here, everyone, and I've got links to the GitHub repo that I have shown in my PowerPoint deck, and I'm sure Halil will be able to share it, or I will share it with you guys just after the session. So let me know if there are questions there. I'm happy to take the questions as well while going through it. It's like a good discussion while going through. We have questions, then we can think about more things and modifying things as well. So one side of the things are already prepared. Now let's go to the Power BI side and see how we prepare a Power BI area. I'm just going to move everything in there and bring up my Power BI window. Okay, I hope everyone can see my Power BI. And yeah, if the text size is smaller, let me know, everyone, okay? Happy to make it bigger. Okay, so now in Power BI, we already discussed about this problem shortly, like, okay, I can see against this product, my store sales are higher than my online sales. And if I see there are no promotions against my online sales, maybe that could be a reason why the online sales for this particular product are low. So maybe as a user, I want to try and take an action. Okay, let's create a promotion for the online sales for this product, and let's see if the sales spike up in next, say, 2 months or 3 months down the line. And now I want to pass this information to my team so they can take an action and create a promotion on the, say, website for this particular product. But how do I pass it at the same time? Now in Power BI to do this, I mean, if I think logically, I literally need a window where I can write my comments, and I need a submit button where I can actually submit the details so that this can be stored somewhere in the database as an action for the team to take in next few days. So I know, okay, I want a window to write comment. Okay, now in Power BI, there are so many things. First of all, I have used a new text slicer to get this done. So before going into that, let's see what we really need to enable in Power BI. If we go to the Power BI settings, to use translytical flows, we need to enable that in Power BI. To make sure Power BI interacts with SQL database, we need to enable that in Power BI. So we do everything in the settings. So if we open the Power BI settings and go to preview features, again saying that this is a preview feature, this is still a preview feature. I will not say directly implement this in your production environment, try it, test it, how it works, and I would wait for it to come out of preview. So this is still a preview feature, but still a very strong feature in Power BI. So if you scroll down, there are a few things. For this scenario, I used a text slicer visual. Make sure that's enabled. You can use other ways of doing things, but I ended up using a text slicer visual. Second thing, I want to use translytical task flow feature. So I have to enable that in Power BI. I want to make sure I can connect to a Fabric SQL database. Now, there was a reason why I did that. I'll show you why. So make sure this setting is enabled. Because if you remember, if I go back to my workspace here, whole of my data, whole of my semantic model resides in a lakehouse. In my SQL database, only my comments table reside. Now, in order to make sure my comments table work perfectly fine or in the right way as my semantic model should work, I need to bring this comments table into my semantic model. So that's why I enabled SQL DB connection in Power BI, because I'll bring the comments table, add it to my semantic model there, and then use it for writing out comments back to the SQL DB. So, I mean, I could have done everything in a SQL DB, but I wanted to create this translytical flow scenario on the top of my existing, environment or the existing work. So all of my data resides in Lakehouse except the comments table that's in SQL DB. And again, the same reason I use SQL DB as recommended by Microsoft. So what we are going to do is in Power BI, once all these settings are enabled, we hit OK. You might have to close down Power BI because these settings are which get implemented after reopening Power BI. So that's fine. Once that's done, what you do is in my semantic model, what I did was, why this coming up? In my semantic model, what I did was, I actually made a connection to my SQL DB. So what I did was I went to get data and then just bought my comments table by connecting to the SQL database. So I went here, I connected to the SQL database. And once I click on that, it will show me any SQL database that I have got access to. Just give it a second, it will come up. Yeah, so I only have one SQL database in my whole tenant. So it comes up. And once I click that, I can connect to that. And once I connect to that, it will show me the tables that are within that database available for me. And once I do that, I can see it's still loading the table. Let it load. Yeah, demos are always slow. Okay, so once it gets connected, I can see my product revenue table there and I can load it. So once I load it, I get my product revenue table here. And now, as we saw earlier, that this product revenue table has got a product ID column, which we can use to connect to the product table, because in the end, we want comments to be added against a product ID or a product key. So this product key is the key column we are going to use in our semantic model to connect our product table with this comments table so that all the comments against a product get captured properly against the right product. So that's the only change I made in my semantic model. And also the other thing what I did was all of the semantic, in this report, I connected my model in a direct query mode. The reason in the direct query mode is because I want some changes to show up in the real time. Like, for example, if I'm adding comments, I want them to populate in a table at the same time on the Power BI report, just to make sure that my comment went through and it went against the right product. So I ended up using a direct query connection for my semantic model. So this is how I connected my comments table and made sure it is connected in the right way. Because against a product, I can have many comments. That's why it is a one-to-many connection there. So now I go back to the Power BI report. Now I want to capture comments. Okay, for capturing comments, what I did was I'll just switch back to a new tab or a new page on the report. It's nearly same. And what it has got is it has got a product table here. And in this product table, again, I've got some information around the product. Like, for example, I've got product key, product name, product description. I've got overall sales I have seen against this product and store sales and online sales as well. And then on the right, I've got promotion details. So for example, if I go there and then see some of the products, like we ended up seeing some product where online sales were quite low. Like, for example, this particular product, if I click on it, I can see it hasn't got any discount. Oh, it's loading. Sorry, the wheel is still moving. I'm not sure why this screen is slow, but yeah. So when I select a particular product, I can see promotion against it. Okay, again, most of the sales come from store, not from online. And I can see that there is no discount against this particular store. And now, as a user, what I want to do is I want to write a comment here saying, okay, for this product, can we bring online promotion to take up online sales? Can we say maybe, oh, this is something I'm bad with. It just got cleared, but it's fine. I'll write. Can we add online promotion product to spike online sales. So that's something, say, I've written as a comment there. And what I'll do is, the moment I click on that, a button appears. And if I enter it, it starts submitting my comment. I'll show you how this is done, but I just want to show the interaction, the powerful interaction this thing brings. The moment I start submitting, it starts refreshing my model as well, because obviously it's a direct query model. So it will refresh against. Somehow it is slow today. I'm not sure it's because of screen share or something, but it's fine. Doesn't matter. Now my comment is getting processed, and say, I got a message there. Comment against product was added to the product revenue comments table. And if you remember, this was something we gave in our UDF function. So if I go to my UDF function again, bear with me, my screen is slow. See, comment against product was added to the product revenue comments table. And that's the same message we got while doing that in Power BI. So this kind of tells our comment was submitted. The moment and remember, this is the product ID we are looking for, 2514. The moment I do that, this bottom table is actually populating all the comments I'm writing. And the moment you can see that comment already got created, and it was like a real-time thing. I added it, I got a pop-up, and it already got created. And if I go back to my SQL database, let's go to the SQL database. Okay, I'll just refresh it. Sometimes it takes time to refresh, but it's okay. Let's see if refreshing the table works. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. What I end up doing is, when I refresh the browser, it kind of brings in the new row of data. I'm not sure why. Ideally, it should work the moment I refresh the table, but it doesn't come up. I'm not sure why. But when I do this, I can see a new row of data is added in my particular table for that 2514 product that we're looking for. Okay, let's go back, create the table. Yeah, so I can clearly see, can we add online promotion for this product to spike online sales? That comment against my product is already added in the database. And now the the relevant team member can take an action and create an online promotion for this product. So this is how we actually gave a comment here. We entered a comment and we submitted it. And this is live coming from the SQL database from the Fabric, like, okay, our comments are added. Now, how this was done. So to do this, what I did was I created a text slicer. So this is the new text slicer. Yeah, I think it's been there for some time now. I've seen many videos around it. People have been doing amazing things with it, but I just used it to enter my comments. And if you see, I haven't used anything to the field. I just did some formatting stuff here, like, okay, yeah, I just added few, formatting things here. That's it. Nothing more. And yeah, just give some coloring, background, all those things, apply button. Yeah, it's just a normal formatting, nothing more in this particular box. Okay. The next thing what I did was, now obviously to make sure this input text gets written. I mean, obviously I want a button at the bottom, like, yeah, this could have been a submit button actually, not enter, but it's fine. Then what I did was I created a simple button in Power BI. And the main thing what I did in the button is this actions. Okay, let me make this bigger, and let me know if you guys want me to make this more bigger for you. Did it work? Let's wait a little bit. So in this particular button, what kind of action I have done. Now there have been different actions in a normal button. This is a simple empty button I created, back bookmark. But the moment I enable Translytical flow setting in Power BI, I get a data function action type under a button. Now, this is the data function action, which we can use to invoke the user data function that we created to write back our data to SQL database in Fabric. So I select this data function. The moment I select that data function, I see additional options which I have to select or the additional fields which I have to fill in to make this thing work. I can clearly see there's a workspace name required. So this is my Fabric Contoso workspace. Then I have to select the function set. So the moment I click on the drop down, this is the Contoso comment UDF that I created in this particular workspace that comes up by itself. And then the name of the data function which I gave was write1 to SQL DB. So if I go back to my UDF just to show that to everyone. So this is my Contoso comments UDF. That's the data function name. And then this is the actual alias for the data function, which is write1 to SQL DB. So that's the names. Those are the names I have given here in this entry. And then I have made sure refresh the report after a successful outcome because I want to see the updates real time. If I don't do this, this table won't get updated real time. It will not show me. It will show me if my comments went through correctly, it will show me that pop up. Okay, the comments got written to this table, but here my comments are not going to pop up. So if I want to see that real time interaction, okay, the comments feed through and then here is the comment. Then I can do that. Then for that, I have to refresh the report after that successful written is complete in the table. And then a product key I need to give because I'm writing these comments against the product key. So, because if you remember in the UDF, we gave that we are going to write data against two particular columns. One is product key and one is comment. So the moment I get this UDF linked against that button as an action, it asks me what should be. So for example, if I clear this, okay. So once I select this data function, what it does is it shows me, okay, what should be the product key value and what should be the comment value, because these are the two columns that need value in this table. So for the product key, I mean, obviously, there is nothing right here. So I have to go and select a product key. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to base this on my product table product key, because what I'm doing here is product key. And the summarization I'm going to do is mags. The reason why I'm going to do the mags here is because I'm just selecting a product. And whenever I select a product, everything here is on this report page is getting filtered for that particular product. So whenever I write anything here as a comment, it will go against this selected product because that product is getting selected and getting passed through in this particular button. So that's the product key I've selected. And under comment, I have got a text slicer named provide product comment. So that's what I have selected because I want to capture comment what I'm writing in this particular text slicer. So that's the only setting I'm giving. And also I am enabling auto clear in my button. So the moment, so if you remember, this got cleared after we submitted this particular comment. And that's the kind of user interaction I want to give to the user. The moment they submit a comment, this box or this text slicer gets cleared up by itself so that they can write a new comment against a product. So that's the kind of interaction we want to give the user. And that's why I've selected it as auto clear here. And once everything is set up properly, then your products get written because, okay, now let's do this for a particular product, or let's go and select. Oh, let's select this product where I don't see sales. I'm not sure why the store sales have gone, but we can go through some other products for certain other reasons, like say, overall sales again. And we select a good product where the sales have been pretty low or something like that. We can go with this litware. The moment I select it, again, I can see there is no discount against online sales. There are only store discounts. So I can again add like for litware LED product, we need to promote it online to see, sorry about my typos, promote it online to see an increase in sales. That's the comment I'm giving. The moment I hit enter, the button appears because in this button, I have given under action that capture the comments from this comments text slicer. That's why it gets enabled. And yeah, I definitely did some disable enable settings on the button, which are the format settings. I can share this Power BI file with the people if they're interested in, just to see what kind of settings have been done. And once I do that, it's kind of refreshing my model and trying to write that. And see, we did it again against a T470 product. It hasn't come up here, but we'll see that. And see, it came up even before we saw the successful message. Oh yeah, it came up, request submitted. And see, we can see that. Yeah, I don't know why it came up a little late, but it's okay, it happens. So yeah, we can see that real-time thing. Okay, my comment went through and it got saved in the database correctly, what I wrote. So this is something really powerful. I mean, this is just one scenario we saw today, like, how we can write comments and capture them, and then, further ask the team members to check them regularly and take actions against it. So we can generate more insights, monitor sales in the future. So this is the kind of scenario I really wanted to show and see everything is working real time. That's what I love about it. I mean, people have been craving for it within Power BI for so long, and now we have got everything in Power BI. And yeah, I haven't published this report in my Fabric environment. I can do that and do everything within the Fabric environment without even using Power BI Desktop. I showed this in Power BI Desktop, but after publishing this report, I can actually do the same scenario in Power BI, in the Fabric environment. So everything within the single environment. I'm not using Power Apps, or I'm not using a different system like CRM or, other system to capture the information. I'm just doing everything within my Fabric environment. I can go back to my database and see what's really going. My UDF is here, my semantic model is here, my database is here where all my comments are getting captured. So that's, see, again, it doesn't get refreshed. And if I refresh the browser, the new row will come up. So the only motive to show this demo today was like, this is a very, very powerful scenario. This was a very simple way of showing it, but there could be many different things done with it. We can play around with the discount prices and see how the sales will be impacted. We can play around with few other things to see how our, transactional data will get impacted, or say, how our revenue will get impacted. So those are the really, cool things that we can do with this feature. Again, this feature is still under preview, but I still think it has got so much potential, and there are many good things people can do with it. So just to show you a few more things, like if we go to this example user data functions that's been given, that there are so many other things we can do. We have just added data. We can update data. We can edit data. We can even delete the data for a particular, entry. So there are so many different things you can do. You can use some AI suggestions as well. You can request, you can create approval and, denial workflows as well. You can do some marketing emails, send marketing emails. And there are so many different things you can do with it. So I haven't tried much around it, but this particular thing was really in my mind because my customers have been asking it for ages, like, in Power BI, can we do this? In Power BI, can we do this? But now, yes, we can do this within the single Fabric environment within Power BI, and everything is within a single environment. So you really don't have to go to multiple places to get things done. So let me just go back to the PowerPoint slide. So these were the demo steps we tried to capture today. And this was a very simple scenario. I showed it to you guys. So let's go and see a few more slides, because I put in some time in getting these slides done. So let's go through a few more slides before we end today's session. So one thing, what I also think about is when we talk about translytical flows, there are certain benefits that we can see when it comes from business user point of view and from IT user point of view. So when I talk for business users, it's really good from faster collaboration point of view, and it's easy for them to take an immediate action. Again, we talked earlier that there are cases where there is a delayed action because we don't have everything in a single environment. It takes time. There are bridges, there are gaps to take the actions. But because of this translytical flow capability, it's easier for business users for faster collaboration, and they can take immediate action against any data point that they're looking at. For IT teams, again, it provides centralized governance for them, security for them, and everything. They can work with the right permission. So, not everyone is doing everything. Only the right people have got, the right permissions to do stuff. And then from the enterprise point of view, it actually reduces the decision-making lag, and it improves responsiveness because everyone has got everything in that UX. As a user point of view, I can do everything in front of my eyes. I can select a data point. I can write a comment. I can update my discount. I can see how my sales are impacted. I can write the comments against it and then send it to my team on spot. I can see the real-time update, how the comments have updated my sales. So those kind of things are really, strong from a user point of view because I see everything in front of my eyes. I'm not taking or going to a different screen to get this thing done. And then the next thing, some of the best practice and considerations that, again, this is coming from Microsoft documentation, like we should have a proper governance for write back actions. So we should be wary about like who's doing what. Not everyone should be given permission to do this because we saw the scenario that once we submit the comment, it goes directly to a database, right? It gets written. So we really don't want to create data silos or, just overwhelm our tables or just grow them larger and larger without any reason. So we need to make sure we have a definitive governance in place for these write back scenarios and actions. And we should be starting with small and impactful scenarios rather than, just picking up like big things, which can be confusing. Just start with very simple actions. Okay, feeding comment against a product. Okay, this product description is not correct as per the new version. Can we change them? So start with small things and see how it is working, how the business users are taking it. Is this really helpful? Is this really creating any impact? Is this really driving any actions in your, enterprise or in your, organization? Then the next thing we should, again, the same thing which we talked on the previous slide, we should ensure that there's a data security and permissions are on the right place. Again, this is feeding data directly to your database into your OneLake. So make sure everything is in the right place. Not everyone is mingling with that data or messing with that data. Then we should be monitoring what we are doing with, and we should be measuring the impact. Because as I said, this is a very strong scenario of writing back directly to the database within the Fabric environment. So we should be measuring what kind of impact it's having. Mostly what I think is it will really help business users to take actions. But yeah, it's always good to measure and monitor things happening within the environment because things can go wrong very easily. Next, there are a few resources. I'm not going through the link. There are some overview about translytical flows. There are tutorials as well. Microsoft has provided how you can create your first translytical task flow. There are user data functions ready for you and how to create a data function within Power BI, which I showed you very quickly, but you can go and check out the detailed blog from Microsoft as well, how this can be created. I followed all these 4 to get this scenario done. So hopefully these resources will help you guys get started with this functionality. And there are some example data functions that I showed you, which are already ready. And also you can use the sample data functions while creating the data functions that I showed you in Fabric environment as well. Once you create the user data function, you can create a sample data function as well. And yeah, thank you, everyone. And just to say as closing point is like, with live data control and write back in Fabric, I think Power BI is now just not a reporting tool. It has now become an action platform, I would say, in my words. And I think now it's not just about analyzing the data, but it's about acting the data. So now it's your guys' turn to use this feature and then see how it helps you, how you can improve your sales or finance, within your organization. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about this capability because I am quite excited about this capability and do more things using it. So yeah, thank you everyone who attended my session today. And yeah, happy to take any questions.
If you have questions, please unmute yourself, show yourself if possible.
Let me open the chat. Okay, I can think a few more things. The chat. Wow, I love the audience who's very, very interactive. I love this session. On-object interaction is not on. Yeah, Halil, yeah. I still, yeah, I mean, I would not say awful, but it is still little messy for me. I have made blunders using that, so I just disabled it. It took me more time to do a few things. So
Well,
will it work on, yeah. I think there's a question from Deepak. Will it work on all storage modes, import and direct? So Deepak, why I used direct query was for very single reason, because I wanted to see the live updates on my Power BI report. So if you can see this, I'm still sharing my screen. This comments table is directly bringing data from my revenue comments table, which is in my SQL database and Fabric environment. So the reason why I use direct query is so that I can see the real-time updates of all the comments getting added to this table. That's why I use direct query. And if you're using import, you'll have to keep on refreshing your report to get those comments getting popped up. So it won't be in real time if you use import mode, because you'll have to refresh the data to get those rows populated every time here. So the only reason I used it for this particular reason. Let me know if that answers your question. Oh yeah, Halil already said that. Yeah, it should also work with him, but you need same thing. Sorry, I repeated the same stuff.
No problem.
Julie, this is a text box visual. Yeah, this is the new. I think it is a text box visual. Okay. Sorry
you
about
said
that.
it was the text box slicer.
Yeah. It's a text slicer. It's a new text slicer where you can actually enter comments. So this is a new visual that was added some time back. So it's not a text box, but it's a text slicer that allows you to enter data. Yeah. So try it out. This is a different visual. Yes, Teams and browser sharing. Oh, mess. Yeah. It was a text slicer. Yeah. Great overview. Thanks for the insight. Thanks, Yan. Okay. If there are any more questions, guys, let me know. I'm always happy to, discuss, especially regarding the new features that we have.
How can we restrict user not to update data? From Deepak.
You can, I think you'll have to place the right permissions for them somehow in the Fabric environment, I guess. I haven't tried it, but that's where we talk about data security and permissions as the best practices. If we don't want them to update the data, are you saying they should be adding data but not updating data? Or you just don't want them to add or update data?
So yeah, basically, in Power BI side, we have those roles, right?
Yeah.
Admin,
Row level
contributor,
security, yeah.
similar.
Yeah, row level security, yeah.
Not the row level security, it's a contributor, admin, and viewer of the report, because it's a on the semantic model we are
That's the
adding these things,
workspace,
right?
workspace level permissions you're talking about, yeah.
So that permissions will work on this one, or there is something else we need to do?
So viewer permission on your workspace is for the users who can just interact with your report, right? So for example, for the business users, you give the viewer permission, right? So they can just interact with the report. And this translytical flow, I mean, entering the data and submitting it is part of the interaction on your report. So if you don't want them to have access to using this particular feature, you might have to completely ban them from accessing this particular feature. So basically, they should not be getting access to writing comments, because this writing comment interaction is part of your accessing your Power BI report and interacting with it. Because this is something you built in Power BI.
Okay. So what are the steps we need to follow in order to restrict, to update the data, or to use this feature?
So this is what I'm struggling to understand. I mean, why you want them to restrict to update the data? Because if you're giving them access to this particular report where they can add comments, it means you're giving them access to add comments, right?
I mean, like if you create a report, there are multiple users, and
Yeah.
we just wanted to give this kind of functionality only for few users.
Okay, Deepak. So let's not go into that because that's a different thing in Power BI.
Okay.
You'll have to create multiple reports to do that. If there are two security groups where one security group should have access to this write functionality, write back functionality, and one security group contains user that should not have write back functionality, you'll have to literally create two reports because there is nothing like visual level security in Power BI. Okay. There is only row level security in Power BI, which is data level. So, I mean, people have tweaked the visual level security in some way, but that's all flawed. It's not something productionized thing. If you want people to have some security at visual level, you'll have to literally divide your reports. So like some users will only access the report which hasn't got write back functionality, then other users will only have access to a report that will have write back functionality.
Thanks for that, Pragati. That was a great session. There's a comment from Julie. This is a great timing. I need this for a current project.
Yeah, Julie. When you said that in the starting, I was like, I think this session is for you. hopefully you got like a lot of
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, at least something from it so you can help it in your project, how this works, and the resources should help you as well.
I would like to add one more thing to this comment. Currently, using power-ups for data input, for inputting data is much powerful. This is the current situation. And I believe it is not because of the lack of features in user data functions or something like that, but we need to have more flexible visuals that allows us to input data.
Yep. Yeah, you're true. You're right. But I think, Halil, this is something new that they have bought for us, right? So I mean, the plus point of having this feature is everything in single environment. Again, we are not using something other feature in Power BI, another system in Power BI to do this.
Definitely.
So this has just come up, and you never know what you just said. They might implement in next 3 months, right? You need a powerful visual to enter data in Power BI. Maybe that's something that might come up in next 3 months. Does anyone have leads on how to learn to use Power App to accomplish this? Sorry, I'm not a Power person. I'm not sure if you can answer it.
I think we recorded a session last year regarding this, and you can find this video in the link that I wrote in the chat window at the top.
Right, yeah, you put it at
Oh
the top.
yeah, okay.
Super.
Yeah, there's one link, yeah.
It might be in Turkish. I don't remember. Sorry. But the idea is quite same. I mean, you are creating some sort of table, not in Fabric, but in Dataverse. You bind your visuals to columns in those tables, make a connection through Power Apps visual. It's quite similar as an idea.
Yeah.
But would you need would you need a Fabric license for that?
No, it should be
For Power App. No, you need a Power App Power App
apps license. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trial license should be more than enough for you if you are using Office 365.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pragati. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.